Meanwhile, former Finance Secretary Robert de Ocampo stresses the need for the 2015 APEC summit to focus on three key strategic issues. He enumerates these as trade agreements, global finance, and geopolitics. Freddie Abando reports.
In 1996, the Philippines hosted the Asia-Pacific Economic Conference, or APEC, in Subic. It marked the country's rise as one of Asia's economic tigers. President Fidel Ramos was the architect of the economic movement despite the Asian financial crisis in 1997. The Philippines was the only ASEAN nation to weather the economic downturn of the region. But then, under former President Estrada and Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, growth reverted to a boom and bust cycle.
Now, the APEC has been around for, I remember the very first one that was held here was during the time of President Ramos, and that was way back in 1996. Instead of using the Ramos administration as a launch pad for moving ever forward, we had a hiatus, so to speak, of a period of time during which we weren't aggressively going forward, and during which many of the countries that were not ahead of us at that time started surging ahead of us. Now, over the past years, we have managed by a number of factors to start bouncing back in the eyes of the world. Growth rates are much better than they used to be. So it's, you might say, a good time we have today for being able to host APEC. Now, what we should hope for is not a repeat of what happened the last time, during which, after APEC, rather than surging forward, we once again go in circles or move one step forward and two steps back.
With the rise of President Benigno Aquino III to power in 2010, key reforms to restore good governance restored the people's faith in government. In 5 years, there is renewed faith of the people on the future of the country. From sick man of Asia to Asia's new economic miracle, the Philippines shines again. 20 years after hosting the APEC Leaders Summit in Subic, Manila is all set for the Leaders Summit from 21 member states of APEC. It also gathers top business leaders from top corporations and companies. It will showcase the best of times for the Philippines.
The gains that must be preserved are a heightened appreciation by the entire community of the need to have good governance, whether it's in the private sector or in the public sector. One could, of course, say that the application of good governance, even under this administration, may have had its ups and downs. But the up part of it that has to be preserved is the preservation of a mindset in both the public and the private sector to continuously work at good governance as a centerpiece of how things have to be managed in our country.
Former Finance Secretary Roberto de Ocampo was among the key economic advisors of former President Ramos from 1993 to 98. De Ocampo stressed the APEC summit in Manila will focus on a number of strategic issues and concerns to benefit member states, to include the Philippines. APEC accounts for 40% of the global economy. The three biggest economies, to include the United States, China, and Japan, are in the Asia-Pacific region. De Ocampo said this region's conference should focus on three key strategic issues: trade agreements, global finance, and geopolitics. Each member state will discuss trade relations, the impact of global finance. Geopolitics is expected to focus on the rise of China as a major economic and military power, since this will impact on the future of peaceful coexistence with its neighbors, to include the Philippines with claims in the West Philippine Sea and South China Seas.
To me, the real nitty-gritties would lie in trade arrangements, global financial institutions, and how will they be reconfigured, and the new political power structure that is inevitable, meaning to say that prior to this year and for many years before, we were operating under a in a sense, one power situation following the breakup of the Soviet Union. But now we're inching again towards a two-power situation with China moving up. Now, how do the rest of us swim in these new waters?
Yeah.
Those are the important things to consider during the APEC discussions for the Philippines. Have we got it clear in our minds how we're going to participate in an ASEAN economic cooperation? Are we or are we not joining TPP? Are we or are we not joining the AIIB in a global power place? What is our end game, so to speak, in our claims vis-a-vis China?
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.